Okay, I call this meeting to order for 6 o'clock on June 12th, and we will begin with a call to order. With the roll call.
Hay.
Yes.
Gregg.
Yes.
Weber.
Yes.
Williams. Miller.
Yes.
Okay, just a couple things before we begin, because I'm going to train you all a little bit like I do my classroom. You may have figured this out about me, but I have sort of a hearing problem. And the reason I have the hearing problem is because I've had surgery on both ears. I've had the bones removed from both ears and replaced, stapes. And so it's a weird kind of hearing problem, but occasionally I can hear conversations on the very back row. Sometimes I can't hear them when they're right here next to me. So what I tell my students is, if you don't mind, if you're speaking to the group, if you don't mind that if I can see your face, I'm fine usually. If you talk to me like this, I'm not going to probably understand quite what you say. So if you would just bear with me on that, I'd really appreciate it. So, moving on, we have a presentation. Mr. Schlegel.
Yes, this evening we have the Community Development Department update by Reese Jackson.
Tonight, we have a presentation from the Community Development Department. The Community Development Department is comprised of building codes, code enforcement, the Mexico Animal Shelter, and building and grounds. Some of the programs that we have in that department is the demolition program, the sidewalk replacement program, the backflow valve, the household hazardous waste facility, and the boards that we have are Planning and Zoning Commission and the Zoning Board of Adjustment. We'll start tonight with our building permits. And what I'll do is I'll just kind of give you an update on what the previous fiscal year was. In the building permit department, basically permits are issued for anything like your electrical, your plumbing, your fences, mechanical, accessory buildings, roofing, and etc. So basically, we issued 888 residential permits in the previous fiscal year for about 7.5 million. We issued 21 new resident permits. Those are single-family dwellings, and for about 3.5 million. We had 86 commercial building permits issued, and basically those 86 were almost like your residential. That was just a facelift with the electrical, mechanical, plumbing, etc. And there were 12 new commercial buildings during that previous fiscal year for 6.9 million, for a total of 974 permits issued in the 2021-22 fiscal year for $20 million. So we bring you up to the current fiscal year. We issued 462, we cut this off at the end of May. So 460 residential building permits have been issued for a total price of $6 million. We've issued 17 new residential buildings, 51 commercial, 6 new commercial buildings, for a total of 511 permits being issued to date. As I discussed this with the building inspectors, they have indicated we will overrun our new residential houses that will be, we are looking at an additional 8 to 10 more residential houses permits being issued this year. Under our code enforcement department, basically what the code enforcement officer does, we break the neighborhoods down and we actually run the trash routes. So Monday through Friday, however your trash pickup is, those are the routes that we run to go out, and we look for the tall grass and weeds. Your grass can, before it's a violation, it's about 8 inches, becomes a violation at that. Junk trash and debris, unlicensed vehicles, parking in the front yard, trash can violations. That's basically setting your trash can out 24 hours before it is time to actually pick them up. And grass clippings in the street. How we try to notify people regarding these notifications, we do door hangers. But the door hangers have now become a problem because we have so many people that do not allow us to don't walk on my property. So it's kind of hard to actually issue those door hangers. We have a standard 7-day notice. Once we cite the violation, you will be notified, you will be given a 7-day notice to actually abate that violation. And if you do not do that, we will turn around and send you, by certified mail, we will send you a letter stating that we will abate the violation if you do not do that. With the certified mail, it actually takes about 3 weeks for the turnaround. If the person does not accept that violation, we will get it back, the post office will send it back to us. And then if not, a summons is issued.
Can I ask you a dumb question, probably? I understand all those things, except how do you enforce junk, trash, and debris? Who determines the junk?
That is a great question, because what we consider sometimes junk, trash, and debris, you can actually set a toilet out or something. There's a difference between lawn furniture and furniture that you have in the house. You can have a refrigerator that you have replaced, or you could just have a host of items, whether it's clothes, boxes, that is setting out. But we are learning right now that what we consider junk, trash, and debris, that individual, to them, it could be an antique, or it could be something that they do not consider that it is junk.
Well, I've got a
trash.
toilet in my yard. I think it's a yard ornament. That's what no, I'm kidding.
When you do these violations for the junk, is that something you go around and you see, or is it some complaints from neighbors that you get?
Actually, we receive lots of complaints from neighbors, and what you will see probably on your trash, on your tall grass and weeds, because we're no longer able to actually go onto that property, neighbors allow us to actually, you can come into my property and actually look at it and see and get it taken care of that way.
Okay.
So the code enforcement officer, if you look at the previous year, the 2021-2022, for the tall grass and weeds, 932 violation notices were issued. Junk, trash, and debris, 753. Unlicensed vehicles, 364. Parking in the front yard, 20. Trash can violations, 12, and grass clippings in the street. That is one of the easiest ones to actually abate. If you actually see you see the person actually out there doing that at the time, and you can just walk up, and it's just a notification. Some people are not aware of the fact that they cannot do this, and we try to put it in the newsletter, some of the things, did you know that you cannot do these things. Our current fiscal year, to date, we have issued 502, junk, trash, and debris, 480, unlicensed vehicles, 394, parking in the front yard, 18, trash can violations at this point, 0, and grass clippings in the streets, 2. But also, if you notice at the bottom, if the violations are not abated, a summons is actually issued, and that individual must show up in court. What we try to do is, the first time is a warning. We'd like to warn you and let you know what city code is. And then the second time, you receive the notification, and then after that, it's a summons if you do not abate it. Our numbers are not going down. What you see on the junk, on the unlicensed vehicles, you're going to see how those numbers have raised. And what has happened, you have lots of unlicensed vehicles, and they're on the streets. And once they're told to take them off the streets, they end up in the front yard. So we're working hard to understand, and then when the individual is called, it's usually a reason that I'm waiting either for a check or the plates are coming, and so, or we'll actually try to work with them, but sometimes it's not. We can actually have that vehicle towed off once we can abate that. And if it's a rental property, we actually send that notification actually to the property owner as well to ensure that we can get it taken care of quickly.
Rita, I have a question. Is there an ordinance about what kind of vehicles can be parked on the side of the street?
On the side of the street, actually, the parking in the street is the jurisdiction of public safety.
I'll talk to you about it later.
Actually is parking in the front yard.
Okay, all right. Gotcha. All right, go ahead.
The Mexico Animal Shelter. We have lots of great animals out there. One of the things is that the Mexico Animal Shelter, the City of Mexico, we partnership somewhat with the Adrian Humane Society. And basically what they do is each year they contribute $5,000 to the City of Mexico. That enables city staff to, someone that's living in the county, if they have a stray cat or dog, they can actually bring it to the animal shelter at no cost. City cannot go into the county and pick it up, but you can bring it into the animal shelter because of this program that the Humane Society does for us. The Humane Society also, the spay-neuter program, which all our animals are spayed or neutered before they leave the shelter, and that's a program they have provided for the City of Mexico. To date, we've had 95 dogs adopted and 50 cats. Returned to owner, 71 animals have been returned, and 1 cat. Currently, what we have at the animal shelter, we have 2 animal control officers. The animal shelter is open 6 days a week, so those 2 staff members they rotate their shifts, one 8 o'clock to 5 one week and 7 to 4 the other. We do have one part-time shelter attendant, and that person is actually the caretaker of the front desk. That's a crucial, I would say, position, because really that person that sits at that front desk, they know every person or every animal that comes into that animal shelter, and it makes it much easier for us to be able to return those animals, or if it's an individual that has actually violated the policies a lot, that you can sometimes have a policy in place that you can no longer adopt an animal or something like that. And one of the things at the animal shelter, we are very fortunate that Walmart and other organizations and individuals, the public donations are excellent. We do not have to purchase food. Lots of that is donated from Walmart, and individuals in the cities, in lieu of taking gifts at birthdays, they actually ask to have the gifts sent to the animal shelter, whether it's food, whether it's leashes, or things such as that. And the animal control officer, we do, Jeffrey, we're having on-call, which we, from 5 to 10 each night, from Monday through Thursday, they do our on-call to pick up the animals that are running at large. And that's something we started last year, so July would give us a year at doing something like that.
So typically in the animal shelter, how many is it full? I don't know what full is. I don't know what capacity.
Right now, as of today, we're full to capacity.
Which means how many? Roughly.
Roughly, that would be 40. Sometimes it depends on the size. We can actually put 2 in 1 cage.
Okay.
But we have to leave 1 kennel open each night because public safety could pick up something and we need to actually house that animal. And we are, sometimes we do partnership with rescues that actually will come to the shelter and adopt the animal and see that it can be placed somewhere else. One of the rescues, what they do, they look at our website and see that an animal has been there for 6 to 8 months, and we have a program with them that they can come in and adopt it, and they can get it fostered and get it to a demolition program. It's a program we've had around since 1988. It has been an excellent program, and basically what it is, it's for single-family houses. They need to be vacant. We do accessory structures and mobile homes. And how the program works, it's a volunteer program. They can make applications to the city. What we do after we receive that application is that city crews actually go out and inspect the exterior of the property to ensure that it's something that the city crews can demolish, because our city staff actually demolishes the house. When we say that, is it a 3-story or something like that, we normally look at, the hazard that it could bring if we did something like that. And basically, every application that we get, we're able to actually demolish the structure. Then after that point, and we see that we can do it, we will sign draft an authority to demolish and release of liability, and they will come in and sign that, and that turns the property over to the city, just the window of opportunity for us to get the house down. And once that's signed, we do a title search on the property to ensure that the individual that has signed that piece of property is actually the owner, and it doesn't come back that someone else says that property, or there's no liens on the property that needs to be addressed before we tear it down. And once the title search is cleared, it's the city, we actually send disconnect letters to the utility companies, water company, Ameren, and we send out the notices to ensure that those utilities are actually disconnected, and when the crew goes out to demolish the house, that they do not hit some utility that has not been disconnected. All the houses are checked for asbestos. You can actually demolish a single-family house without having it checked for asbestos because of the magnitude of houses that the city actually demolished. Every house that we do has to be checked for asbestos. If the report comes back and it has asbestos, the asbestos inspector will come out and remove the asbestos, and after that point, it's clear for us to send the permit in to DNR. DNR has a 10-day waiting period before that house is demolished, and they will send notification that 10 days from the date that we actually send that notification in, the house can be demolished. And it's kind of a wonderful opportunity we had to put in there. It would take a month, it would take 45 days. Normally, we put about 45 days on that permit to ensure that, based on weather or other things, that we can have it done, because if you don't get it done in that time, you will have to send that permit again. And so if you look at it in 2021, 2022, we demolished 14 houses and 8 accessory structures. Our budget for the demolition program is $100,000, and but previous year we spent $97,000. The program, what we do have is we have in place, if it's a fire damaged house, city code requires that 25% of that insurance proceeds be sent to the city of Mexico to ensure that if you have insurance on it and it covers the demolition of the property, that's just to ensure that the person will clean up the property, and if they do that, that 25% is returned back to the property owner. If they can actually have us to do it, we will see what it takes to do it, and if it's less than what their insurance proceeds are, the remainder will be sent back to them. If it's not enough, we don't charge them the additional cost of what it would take to get that property demolished.
So once it's demolished, does the city own it? Who owns it? Does it go back to them?
It goes back to the property owner. And one of the things that you've probably seen this year, something that the city normally doesn't do is the City of Mexico was gifted 2 pieces of property, which was the 518 East Holman. We do have the 1230 Rosebud on the council for tonight. And those are programs that, once we receive the program, we used to have what we call an emergency repair program. And that is when you send the notifications to owner-occupied property owners, they had some kind of means to help offset. We could issue a grant for up to, it used to be $12,500 to have that roof repaired, or if it was plumbing, if it was a mechanical problem, or something like that. But you had to inspect the entire house to ensure that it did meet city code. Couldn't give you a grant and then the rest of the house did not do that.
How's the price of tearing down one of those structures determined?
When we first started this, we could tear a house down from start to finish for about $3,500 to $4,000. Right now, they're running anywhere, depends on the size, it could be anything from $20,000 up to $48,000. And if it's a house that has asbestos and the siding, or asbestos cost is probably what raises the price on it. And when we first started, we did not have to have the asbestos because we're only doing like less than 4 a year and it wasn't required. So our current fiscal year, to date, we have demolished 4 houses and 1 garage. We do have 5 houses pending on the demolition program. 2 of those are mobile homes. We're basically, our houses are torn down in all neighborhoods. Accessory buildings is something that is really, if you go, we did have lots of, if you drive to town and see there are lots of accessory structures that really need to be demolished. And we try to get the word out and let people know that we have the program, and so that it makes your neighborhoods look better.
Sometimes those houses are used for training for the public safety, right?
Right, we give public safety a list of the houses that we have on the demolition list, and we clear it first with the property owner to ensure that it's okay, and they can actually do training in the houses before they're demolished. Our sidewalk replacement program, this is a volunteer program. The city reimbursed for the public sidewalk, $11 per right foot. In our current budget year, we have $7,500 for that. This current year, we have improved 2 sidewalks, 800 South Jefferson and 802 North Wade. We do have 2 applications pending. And with this program, the city engineer actually, they help with this program because once the application is in, they actually go out and inspect the sidewalks and ensure that what they say, the right foot of how much they're going to replace it's a great project, and it's lots of sidewalks out there that need to be replaced. And so some of the things that we're looking at is maybe do like a program that would actually at one time put it out to the public and say that we're taking applications for the sidewalk replacement program where more people can know about it and get people to kind of get their sidewalks replaced. And so it is a program that we're looking at and trying to give it a facelift to make sure that it is utilized more. Because in previous years, we were doing anything from 8 to 10 sidewalks per year, but it's actually going down now. And right now, that $11 per running foot is not really a good price. If we probably need to kind of up that. We also have a backflow valve program, which is also a voluntary program, and it's the installation of a backflow valve. Usually, someone has a backup, city staff goes out and looks at it, and we offer the program, or just, you don't have to have a backup, it's a program that is voluntary that you can do. It's for either owner-occupied or rental properties. You can use a licensed insured contractor of your choice, and the contract is actually between the owner and the city of Mexico. And basically, you bring in your application, you bring in your bid from the contractor. We approve the application to ensure that it's the backflow valve that you put in. The contractor gets the building permit, and once the work is completed and inspected, the property owner must bring in a receipt to show that the bill has been paid. And then that 50% is paid to the property owner. Currently, this fiscal year, we had two, one at 115 Pleasant and 612 Washington. Our household hazardous waste facility. This is a program that's available to city and county residents. As you can see up there, some of the items that we accept: automotive, filters, batteries, cleansers, household products, lawn and garden, our paints, oil-based and strippers, and miscellaneous items. And what we have found on our paints, we used to take lead-based paint, and now we only take oil-based paint. And what we have told individuals, and what had happened to us, our previous fiscal year, people were bringing in so much paint, the latex paint, and it took our entire budget because of the magnitude of latex paint that we had there at the facility. So we did research and saw what other cities did. And basically now, on that paint, we tell you to put cat litter in it, kitty litter in it, and actually let it dry. And it can actually be put in your dumpsters or trash cans. And we did the same thing with the oil, because that was running our budget. I think we had a $15,000 budget, and we had probably $13,000 in all base paint, latex paint, and things like that. And O'Reilly's will take the oils for us. We kind of help that program. If you look at our numbers in 2022, city participants were 35, county 9, with a total of 118. But now our numbers are down because we're not getting as much paint. And what you were seeing, although it was residential, this was not available to commercial painters and different things. But people have a way of getting things into the facilities. So now that we no longer take those items, cost is what that is. And during the summer months, we have 2 Wednesdays that we have the facility open by appointment only. And then in our winter months, we go to once a week.
Rita, on fiscal year '22, how does 35 and 9 equal 118?
That's a good question. I looked up there and I was hoping you didn't catch it. Yes, that's the time I was looking up there and I'm thinking, maybe nobody's paying attention.
You don't do anything with our
It
budget.
should have been 118 though, so something got left out. That we did have 118 participants, so I'm going to say I left out something.
Chris said you're in charge of the budget, right?
I said, I hope not.
Well, see, this is not my budget, but I think I watch my own with this thing. That means you're paying attention and you're looking at what's up there.
So if you want to make an appointment for that, you call City Hall to,
Yes, our code enforcement, Summer is the code enforcement officer, and she houses the household hazardous waste program.
okay. Did you say you could put kitty litter in the oil-based paint too? Did I hear that?
Latex.
Latex paint.
Latex, I know, but what about the oil-based paint?
No.
It goes to,
It goes, the motor oil actually goes to O'Reilly's, and I think it's a fee of $5 that you can take it there and they will dispose of it. We used to take it at the
what about oil-based paint? That was my question.
oil-based paint can come
To the hazard,
to the
okay,
hazardous waste,
okay.
so. Our Planning and Zoning Commission, it meets the first Tuesday of each month. Our members are appointed by City Council. Currently, the chairperson of that is Michael Myers. And as you can see, our members are Mike Beersley, Jim Dodd, Brian Gruber, Greg Kilble, Dave Wilburn, and our newest member, she was appointed at our June 6th meeting, is Betty Josiah Stricker. In 2021, 2022, we had 5 rezonings, 1 preliminary and final approval, Oak Acres Plat 8, code amendments, which was our solar farm, renewable energy ordinance, additional use permit, our storage unit, which was, and preliminary and final approval of the Plant Science Center. In our current fiscal year, we've had 2 rezoning, 1 additional use. We visited the animal ordinance review for chickens. And at our last meeting, which we just had this month, was the Rensselaer Estate subdivision plat. And also at that meeting, we did come back and bring our chicken ordinance again. And hopefully, in July, we would like to bring that as an ordinance or another study session. Our zoning board of adjustment, those meetings are called. Our board members, as you can see, Bob Bedlin is our chairperson, James Wooten, Andy Fate, Bruce Oliver, Robert Allen, and we do have 2 alternates, Louis Milan and James Madley. The reason why we have to have 2 alternate members is because it's a 5-board commission, but we have to have 5 people at all times in order to pass a vote. So we have to have 2 alternates. We've only had 1 case this year, and it was a fence variance at 321 East Monroe. For building and grounds, basically this fiscal year, I don't have anything to report. Most of our building and grounds were basically maintenance, air conditioners going out, or heating systems, or something like that, just basically upkeep of the building. Yeah, you said short and sweet. Do you have any questions?
Does anybody have questions they want to, before she's, okay. Thank you, that was a very good report, very interesting. Okay, we need our minutes approved.
I move to approve the minutes of May 22nd.
Second.
Hay,
Yes.
Briggs,
Yes.
Better,
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Okay, we are now under ordinance. We'll require 2 readings, title only and passage. We begin with Bill number 2023-36. This is an ordinance for the City of Mexico to elect to maintain the current business license tax rates for persons supplying water service as currently stated in the Mexico City Code. Mr. Schlegel, would you please explain this?
Yes, let me start you. Under the Missouri statutes, when the Public Service Commission basically allows an increase in pricing for a utility, public utility, in this case the water company, then we have to in turn review the utility tax that we would refer to in most cases as the gross receipts tax on that business. And to cover more detail, Roger Hay.
Good evening, council. I will recap a little bit of what Bruce has already noted. Under revised state statute, the Public Service Commission, when approving a rate increase of 7% or more on a public utility, and in this case Missouri American Water Company, is to notify each affected governing body that imposes a business license tax. From there, we follow up the next revised statute, 393.275.2, which states when a utility tariff is authorized to change in pricing by more than 7%, the municipality receiving the utility services subject to the increase shall by ordinance either reduce the municipality's gross receipts tax to be revenue neutral or keep the current rate previously adopted by the municipality. The current business license tax on water utility companies stands at 7%, and of course that is for Missouri American Water and public water supply. The City of Mexico has received notice from the PSC that Missouri American Water Company has been approved for a 24.7% rate increase for the City of Mexico effective May 28, 2023. From the information the city received from the PSC, it should be noted that Missouri American Water received approval for rate increases in 86 Missouri municipalities, and the rate increases vary. 73 of those are receiving a 30.3% rate increase. 13, of which the city is part of, is receiving the 24.7% rate increase. Missouri American Water's last rate adjustment for our area was approximately 5 years ago. Based on holding the business license tax on water utility providers at the current rate, staff has estimated and will plan to insert to the 2023-2024 budget an estimated increase of approximately $32,000 for this business license tax from the water utility revenue, and also then estimate increases regarding the cost of water services provided to all locations, inclusive of multiple buildings, the wastewater treatment plant, and city parks, inclusive of shelters, bathrooms, and of course the fairgrounds aquatic center. Staff recommends the council proceed with the 2 readings by title only and passage of the attached ordinance, and the ordinance has been posted for the required length of time. And I'll be glad to answer questions.
I move for the first reading of bill number 2023-36.
Second.
Hay,
Yes.
Briggs,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes. Bill number 2023-36, an ordinance for the City of Mexico to elect to maintain a current business license tax rate for persons supplying water service as currently stated in the Mexico City Code in Chapter 8, Business, Article 4, Electric, Gas, and Water Companies, Section 8-258. I move for the second reading of Bill 2023-36.
Second.
Hay,
Yes.
Briggs,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes. Bill number 2023-36, an ordinance for the City of Mexico to elect to maintain the current business license tax rate for persons supplying water service as currently stated in the Mexico City Code in Chapter 8, Businesses, Article 4, Electric, Gas, and Water Companies, Section 8-258. I move for passage of bill number 2023-36.
Second.
Hay,
Yes.
Briggs,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Okay, moving on. Item B, Bill number 2023-37. This is an ordinance for final approval of the Rentschler Estate subdivision plat to the City of Mexico. That map is on the screen. So, Mr.
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, we have a plat that has been requested. It's a lot to be split into 2. To cover the details of it, its location, Rita Jackson.
This agenda item concerns a request for final approval of Rentschler Estate subdivision plat submitted by James Surveying, Inc. on behalf of Mitch Rentschler. This property is currently known as Lot 804 of Oak Acres Plat 8 subdivision. The submitted plat by James Surveying, signed June 8, 2023, contains all the required information for a final plat. There are no improvements planned as part of this subdivision. Engineering staff has reviewed the plat and it meets the city's subdivision requirements. Rensselaer Estate subdivision plan is a split of a larger lot, which was that lot 804, located in Oak Acres Plat 8 subdivision. All utilities and infrastructure which serve these lots were developed along with Oak Acres Plat 8 subdivision. The required sidewalk requirement by the city subdivision ordinance, it was waived during the preliminary plan review. Final approval was given to the plat on June 6, 2023 by the Planning and Zoning Commission. Staff recommends that council proceed with 2 readings by title only and passage of the attached ordinance. This ordinance has been posted the required length of time.
Okay, I'm confused. I don't know where Oak Acres is, I'm sorry, and I'm looking at this and I'm still confused.
Oak Acres is actually on the
Jack Creason,
Jack Creason.
where his place is, behind there.
Gotcha.
Behind Best Western?
Yeah.
East of Best Western?
Okay, now, thank you.
And this is all in the city limit?
Yes.
And it has all, okay.
Streets,
Because it's a check,
utilities already there, they're just taking one large lot and making 2.
Okay.
so we don't have to come back and bring it into the,
Do I have a motion?
I'm sorry, go ahead, yeah, I
Oh,
guess.
no, it's a subdivision plan that was already approved. And actually, he had bought a lot there, and he's just subdivided it into 3 parcels.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Do I have any more questions? Motion.
I don't. I move for first reading bill number 2023-37.
Second.
Hay,
Yes.
Briggs,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Bill number 2023-37, an ordinance for the final approval of Rensselaer Estate subdivision plat to the city of Mexico, Missouri. I move for second reading bill number 2023-37.
Hay,
Yes.
Briggs,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Bill number 2023-37, an ordinance for final approval of Rensselaer Estate subdivision plat for the city of Mexico, Missouri. I move for passage of bill number 2023-37.
Second.
Hay,
Yes.
Briggs,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Okay, item C, bill number 2023-38. This is an ordinance authorizing the city manager to execute certain documents pertaining to disposition of excess property located at Rosebud. Mr. Schlegel.
Yes, we received this property, the city did, through an error of a deceased property owner. And so this was gifted to us, and we have now went ahead and advertised it for sale. And to cover the details of the sale, Rita Jackson.
Why don't you stay up there, we'll tell you when we're finished with you.
This is it.
You are busy tonight.
Okay, as stated, this ordinance pertains to the disposition of property located at 1230 Rosebud. The city received this property by general warranty deed dated July 29, 2022 from Dwight Meyer, which was heir of the deceased property owner, Mary Meyer. An advertisement for sale was placed in the Mexico Ledger on April 26, 29th, and May 3rd and May 6th. It was sent to 10 realtors and contractors. Other means of advertisement for the sale included letters to the property owner within 300 feet. A mandatory pre-bid meeting was held on May 10, 2023, with 13 realtors, contractors, and surrounding property owners in attendance. This single-family dwelling is comprised of 2 bedrooms, 2 baths, wood frame built over crawl space. The dwelling is 1,304 square feet of living space, constructed in 1957 with a 1-car attached garage. On May 24th, 8 bids were received, ranging from $5,000 low bid to $60,100 high bid. A bid of $60,100 was received from JST Rentals LLC of Mexico, Missouri. Staff recommends that council proceed with 2 readings by title only and passage of the attached ordinance. This ordinance has been posted the required length of time.
Where does this money go?
This money goes into the emergency housing repair fund, so we have to in turn go back and help somebody else that needs help down the road. That's where we use it. So we put it back in the community.
Yeah, it goes back, okay. All right, motion.
Move for first reading of bill number 2023-38.
Second.
Hay,
Yes.
Briggs,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Ordinance authorizing the city manager to execute certain documents pertaining to the disposition of excess property located at 1230 Rosebud, Mexico, Missouri. Move for second reading, title only, 23-28,
Sorry.
or 38, excuse me.
Second.
Hay,
Yes.
Briggs,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Miller,
Yeah.
Ordinance authorizing city manager to execute certain documents pertaining to the disposition of excess property located at 1230 Rosebud, Mexico, Missouri. Move for passage of bill number 2023-38.
Second.
Hay,
Yes.
Briggs,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
All right, moving on to item D, bill number 2023-39. This is an ordinance authorizing the sale of certain real property located at Audrain Road, 820, Mexico. Consists of 888.14 acres. Mr. Schlegel.
Yes, council, it's not deja vu here. You have seen this
I seem to
before.
have done this before. Yeah.
Council did approve the sale of the interest in this property back in February of '23 by resolution. Staff has now been notified by the Audrain Title Company that the title insurance folks want us to do this by ordinance instead of by resolution. So the city attorney said it's just easier to just do what they ask. I know it's really probably not legally necessary, but. So the attached ordinance will authorize again the sale of 8.14 acres to be used by Tiger Soy LLC to meet the title company's requirements. The Platt Science Center itself has been sold and back in November of 2022. The closing on this will take place then June 30 of this year. So staff recommends council proceed with two readings by title only and passage of the attached ordinance authorizing, again, to execute documents pertaining to the sale to Tiger Soy. The ordinance has been posted as required length of time.
I move for reading of bill number 2023-39.
Second.
Hay,
Yes.
Briggs,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Bill number 2023-39, an ordinance authorizing the sale of certain real property located at Audrain Road, 820, Missouri, Mexico, Missouri, and consisting of 8.14 acres. I move for second reading of bill number 2023-39.
Second.
Hay,
Yes.
Briggs,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Bill number 2023-39, ordinance authorizing the sale of certain real property located at Audrain Road, 820, Mexico, Missouri, and consisting of 8.14 acres. I move for passage of bill 2023-39.
Second.
Hay,
Yes.
Briggs,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Okay, we get to item 6 on our agenda, and it's resolutions which require reading by title only and passage. We go to item A, which is bill number 2023-40. This is a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute an agreement for the Missouri Department of Conservation Community Assistance Program. Mr. Schlegel.
Yeah, Shar, this is an agreement really with the Parks Department and the Missouri Department of Conservation. And this is partially for services and some management and so on of our several lakes. And to cover the details, Chad Shoemaker.
Thank you. As I'm sure the council is aware, the City of Mexico has a long-standing set of cooperative tasking with the Missouri Department of Conservation. This particular agreement sunsetted after about 25 years. We originally had 4 of these with a 5th contract that described another program. The whole way they do this since the department has reorganized has been changed, so we had to go back and completely renegotiate this. It's been through several drafts of different concepts and has to pass the Missouri Department of Conservation legal team every time. So we're very happy to finally have this back in order and ready to go. Similar to the original agreement, this provides a general management plan for fishery resources. The service includes fishery assistance, fish community surveys and analysis, management of fisheries, things like stocking fish populations, enforcement of fishing rules and regulations, posting creel limits, all those things that make it easier if we have this agreement for our conservation agent, Norman Steelman, to prosecute and pursue certain things like checking fishing license and making it clear that it's their responsibility to do so under this agreement, and it prices people up from having to do things like that for the city. So it's a needed and necessary agreement that you're probably not ever going to see again, because it'll be 25 years before we do this again.
Wait. You don't think I'll see that?
Oh, I just assumed you wouldn't be on the council there.
Oh.
You don't look like you're glad for punishment. So this program also covers like cost-sharing items like our winter trout program in Kiwanis that is very popular. And under the new reorganization, getting this reissued puts us in a place where we can apply for certain grants through their new granting programs post-reorganization that currently, until we get this back in place, we're really ineligible for. So that said, we recommend the council proceed with reading by title only and passage of the attached resolution authorizing the city manager to execute an agreement with the Missouri Department of Conservation for the Community Assistance Program.
Do we stock any other lakes or just?
We stock all of the lakes, yes.
Like every year or?
No, so they put an electrofishing boat out there, and we actually take a set number of samples based on a confidence interval. Statistically, you got to take so many shocks to know what's in the lake. And then based on that, they actually take all those fish that shock up, and I've actually been on the shocking boat before in years past to help them so that I understand what's going on. And you measure every fish from this big to this big. And they're able to tell us via that whether we have put the right things in place for the fish populations to be able to successfully reproduce naturally or not. If we have a whole population a certain size, we'll put stocking in to make sure that we have adequate fish stocking and not too much fish stocking in certain species.
Conservation does the shocking?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I know.
So Kiwanis is the only one we stock.
Kiwanis is the only one for the trout program, right?
Okay.
I move for reading of bill number 2023-40.
Second.
Hay,
Yes.
Briggs,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Yes. Bill number 2023-40, resolution authorizing the city manager to execute an agreement with the Missouri Department of Conservation and Community Assistance Program. I move for passage of bill number 2023-40.
Second.
Hay,
Yes.
Briggs,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Okay, turning the page, we move to item 7, and we now go to appointments to the Mexico Park Board. Mr. Schlegel.
Yes, currently we have one vacant position on the board, and Cole Hildebrand term expires June 2023. Cole has expressed interest in reappointment. We also have received an application from Dave Knoll expressing interest in serving on the board. This is city manager appointment. So I will appoint Cole Hildebrand to a new term, an additional term that would expire in June of 26, and appoint Dave to the unexpired term that expires in June of 24. And I would ask a motion of council to concur with those appointments.
So moved.
Second.
Hay,
Yes.
Briggs,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
The next item, and since Chris Williams isn't here to always do this, I will say I move that we approve the claims.
Second.
Hay,
Yes.
Briggs,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Okay, we're moving on here, and we are now ready for council comments, and I'm going to start with, Steve, can I start with you, please?
All right. I guess, Chris isn't here, but the academic team had a really good, I guess, weekend or week at Nationals, and his son was I think one of the top performers. Congratulations to him. Miss Missouri this week, I guess, so get out there, support them, see. I know they'll be running around around town and have the parade and do all that. I'm sure Councilman Weber's probably in the parade, so you can go out there and see him.
Got to shave my legs.
There you go. So that's about
You're
it.
in the parade.
Okay, well, we're just going to go back on the other side now. Larry, you want to comment?
Well, I was just going to make a couple of comments like Steve made, so I won't. You know, I'm not sure how to, I'm not trying to insult anybody, but whenever there are ordinances or resolutions, it seems to me, and when we make decisions business-wise, we always look at the pros and the cons. Every time there's a reason to do it, there may be one reason not to. And so if there are pros and cons, how would you like to hear what the cons might be sometimes? You know, some of these things obviously doesn't make any difference, but I'd just be curious about that.
You will note that we always try to make a recommendation on the staff report, and if we don't support it, we'll tell you that.
Okay. And other than repeating Steve's comments, I don't have anything else.
Chris?
Just, as Steve said, get involved in the parade and come by and see the mayor riding in the parade. I'm sure you're in the parade. Big event.
Okay. All right. Okay, my turn. I really don't have anything to add, except we have a lot of things going on in Mexico, big things like Miss Missouri and parades, and then we've got looking forward to all the fireworks displays and things. So, someone told me from Fulton the other day that nothing goes on in Fulton and everything goes on in Mexico. I don't know if that's true or not. They probably would argue that, but anyway. Okay, we have one other thing we need to do before we move on to public comment. We have a little conflict with our next meeting, council meeting. Mr. Schlegel, would you address that, please?
Yes. A couple of different things going on at the 6 o'clock time frame on Monday, June 26th. One, Roger Haynes, Deputy City Manager, is kind of on what I'm going to call baby watch. He's expecting his first grandchild, and he may be gone, depending on that being when that blessed event happens. Assistant City Manager Amy and myself have been invited to attend the inauguration, if you will, of the new Chief Executive Officer and President of MU Healthcare. And we've been invited to attend that by the Vice Chancellor of Health Affairs and the Dean of the School of Medicine. And with Mexico certainly needing those services in our community, we feel it's extremely important that we do attend that event and meet with those folks. And so what we're asking is, because that is at the same time the council meeting, that we consider moving the council meeting to maybe a couple hours earlier to like 4 o'clock on that Monday. And so that we can do the council meeting, and then we will head off to Columbia to this event. And, or if that doesn't work, we could even move it to the next night on Tuesday. So, council, we ask that you indulge us and give us that opportunity to move that, and so that we can make these events and still represent the community in doing that.
We have a council meeting.
You guys have any preference?
Second.
Did you make a motion?
What'd you second?
I don't know, I forgot.
I mean,
He said I made a motion to move the council meeting to 4 o'clock.
who said
Okay,
that?
and you seconded it.
Oh,
Can I
okay.
say?
I missed that. I heard you move the council meeting. I just don't know which one. Second.
To Columbia that night.
There you go. Yeah.
Move the meeting at 4 o'clock on Monday, June 26th.
Hay,
Yes.
Gray,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you all. Last thing on the item is our public forum. That gives the audience an opportunity to talk. You have 3 minutes. Please come to the podium and state your name and your address, and we hope you are a city resident. So,
Good evening. My name is Rose Barnes, 1120 Lafayette Street. I have been here before trying to get the ordinance for the golf cars in our city streets in Mexico under the 35-mile-an-hour speed zone. I would like for you to revisit that, and hopefully that we can make this happen. I I do have 4 folders. My husband left the other 3, so I would like to bring these to you.
Oh, it's their fault, you know?
Yeah, only 4. I haven't seen you before, so you get one for sure.
Okay, thank you.
There you go. There you go.
Okay, thank you.
And then there's one you guys can, or
Give this one to Steve.
Give it to the
I can't
clerk for
vote.
record, okay?
Okay.
All right.
I do hope that this time we can get it to pass. I've done some research again. Some of the stuff is the same I presented before. I have updated the populations in those towns. Still, I've checked for accidents regarding golf carts on the city streets, and there is still none that's been reported, other than one small fender bender several years ago in Centralia. Other than that, there is a lot of streets in Mexico that are 35 miles an hour and under that we could drive our cars on with respect to the drivers to stay to one side, be cautious of them, of course. And with everything, with the gas prices and everything involved, it would be nice to be able to slow down, take our communities in, visit the neighborhoods. I like driving around looking at landscaping, so I know what to do in my yard. But I think a lot of people enjoy it, a lot of older people, as well as the younger people. If we could just give it a shot, even a temporary shot, just to see how it goes. I'd be willing to pay any amount of fee that you would request to have paid to get this to happen once a year. Most of the towns in the surrounding area within an 88-mile radius, including O'Fallon, is $10 to $15 a year. With strict guidelines on the cars. Myself, I had my car inspected at Miller Tire for a Missouri safety inspection to make sure it met the Missouri safety laws for operating on the highway or on the roadways. So I ask you to consider it, and I'll be back in a couple of weeks.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Anybody else for any other matter? All right. Okay, with that,
I move it. Second.
Did you make a motion?
yeah,
Kay,
Yes.
Briggs,
yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.